Nowlan.
I'm Kimberly, Caccavo.
And you're listening to the Face Your Grace podcast, where women with ideas become entrepreneurs. Today, we are joined by a dear friend and entrepreneur, Kathy Breen. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
We're excited.
Very excited. Kathy, why don't you give us a bio about you? Who are you? Where do you come from? All the good stuff.
Where are your people from?
You know what? Jersey.
Let's start there.
Let's face our grace, right?
Yeah.
That's our grit. But so anyway, I'm from right outside of New York City, in a suburb of the city.
That's what all people from Jersey say. I'm outside New York City.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The closer you are, the more normal you are.
Right.
But and then we spent our summers down the shore on LBI and Long Beach Island. And let's see, I've lived in California though for the majority of my adult life. So 21 years now with my husband, Steve. We've been married 24 years this month, and we have 7 children. Our oldest is 23, and our youngest is 4.
Oh, wait, can we pause? For those of you that are watching, this is what 7 children looks like. Apparently it gets better. I should have kept going.
Thank you. That's really sweet. So that's my kind of big accomplishment in life. I think my family is, I've dedicated my life to my family, and they're doing great. So far, so good.
Yes, they
Yes.
are. Yes, they are.
And, I do all kinds of little things on the side. I'm always up to something.
Well, that puts it
Well,
mildly.
and yeah, that definitely puts it
Yeah.
mildly.
Do you know she wanted to be the football coach for our kids when they were in middle school?
I didn't know that, but I do know that the first time I saw you, you were pregnant taking a hot yoga class, and I remember looking over at you, and I didn't know you then, but we both knew Kimberly, and I remember looking over and thinking, that couldn't be Kimberly's friend Cathy, because she's like in this hot yoga class doing yoga like I've never seen anybody without being pregnant do yoga, and there you were doing it, and I think you were wearing our leggings, hence
Of
why
course.
I noticed you. So.
I miss Grace by Grit.
Yes.
Oh, really? I still have a few of the things.
Yep, we
But-
Good.
do too.
I ran into
Yeah.
people. Kate and I were on a phone meeting this morning. I was walking down the street and I said, I got to go. There are people in Grace by Grit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah.
3
I mean,
years
I
later.
wore my Grace by Grit stuff through, I think, 3 pregnancies.
Love
Who was
it.
I pregnant with? Matthew, so 2 full pregnancies,
Nice.
which says
Nice.
a lot about that fabric.
Do you have
There we
some
are.
questions?
There we are.
You
Yeah,
have
so sorry, I
great
could
fun
keep talking
questions.
about
I
how
know.
you were a great customer of ours and all the good, wonderful things, but I know that we're here actually to talk about what you're about to launch here, which we're super excited about. But before we do that, we're going to just have some fun get loose questions,
Okay.
and just a way for people to get to know you better and sort of hear more about women in entrepreneurship. So
Okay.
tell us, what is your greatest strength?
My greatest strength, I would say, is that I have a lot of energy. And so it would be, I think, a tie between my energy level and my flexibility. I think
Is that the yoga flexibility or
no, not even
flexibility?
physical
Okay.
flexibility, but yeah, exactly. No, that too. But I have I've always had tons of energy. I've never needed a ton of sleep. And I think that I have good vision. I mean, there are a lot of things that have kind of come to me, and I can see the end first.
Nice.
And I think that's really important with entrepreneurship. I think you have to be able to envision the end before you begin.
Right.
And you can't be afraid of all the changes along the way. And I think that's where the flexibility comes in.
Nice.
That is huge. And I think being flexible, I mean, we talk a lot about that, about being able to see that things have to change and being able to do it versus getting stuck in the fact that you don't want to.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I can already give you an example. We're so new. We're just about to launch. So that's very exciting. But of course, as we all know, things take time in development. And
Right.
so over the past year or so, we've been in development. And the hardest piece of our development has been to find a venue. But I probably should go into this because I haven't told you what we're actually doing.
Later.
But
What's your second question
Yeah.
for her?
My second question is your biggest accomplishment.
my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
She already
question?
answered that. Okay,
Yeah.
third question. Geez,
Yeah.
you're really rushing these along.
Because I
Sorry,
want to
very
hear
excited
about her
to talk
business.
about all the other
It's
stuff.
so exciting.
I get it. Okay, so one thing no one knows about you, but you're finally confident in yourself to actually share it.
You know, I would say that I've always wanted to be a nurse.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I've
Well,
always
you're
thought
a great caretaker.
if you, not just that I'm a caretaker, I mean, I actually would kind of one up that and say I would love to be a surgeon. I just feel like it's a superpower. But if I really was to dig and tell you something that was vulnerable, because that's not that vulnerable, right?
No.
Well,
But
I've
by the way,
always
you
wanted to be a
still
nurse.
can. You're young.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
So if, I've
She's gotta
tossed
get
around
this
a lot of
business
stuff.
off the ground. Then we're gonna
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
but and I'll tell you what I think about becoming a nurse and why
Okay.
not. I am a fertility care practitioner, so I do get health care in.
Right.
But my real thing that I think I have to admit is that I get a lot of stuff done, and I think I wouldn't get 80% of it done if it wasn't for my husband. I feel like he is so amazing because I do have a lot of energy and I have a ton of ideas. And it's almost like he catches my ideas and cares about my ideas. And then he brings them back to reality and helps me break them down because he
Nice.
himself has a lot of ideas and he's constantly
Right.
doing it. So I feel like the one thing that I'd have to admit is I don't know how I'd live without him.
Oh,
Right.
I love that.
But anyway, so
That's
he's
wonderful.
kind of my partner in this. I am a female entrepreneur, but he is my partner in this
Right.
too.
Nice.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
let's start with
start-
that.
yeah,
Let's start with
what
that. What
is
is
your
this?
business?
What
Okay.
is this? Tell us about it.
So it's called Stay Social, and it's basically events for adults with disabilities, social events for adults with disabilities.
What made you come up with this?
Well,
I know. I'm
It's
just
not what,
feeding
it's-
you a question.
It's not what, it's who.
Who, yes.
made me. So my oldest son, Thomas, who's 23 years old, has intellectual disabilities. And he's in the autism spectrum. If you were to meet Thomas, which both of you have, you would see him, and at first glance, you would just think there's nothing wrong with him. And even when you first meet him, he just seems like a gentleman because he's a sweetie, and
He
he'll
is a
hug you,
gentleman.
and he's extremely social. And probably because we have kept him, in mainstream schools, Catholic schools. He's the first to graduate from 12 years of Catholic school in San Diego.
Amazing.
But after these young adults get out of the school system and they graduate from whatever program they're in, adult transition in public schools ends at 22. They're fine getting jobs at whatever level they can. Sometimes Thomas is a cart attendant at Home Depot, and he's doing very well for years now. And there are many goals in that for him, managing his own schedule. And we're interviewing at Legoland Hotel because one of his goals is to work in Disneyland Hotel. So that's his first step. But the problem is they want a social life like everyone else, and there's no social network for them. So my goal of Stay Social is not only to provide a social network on our website through these, we're going to start with mixers that are going to be held at the Encinitas Community and Senior Center, and that kind of goes back to my venue. But then also we've been reaching out to local businesses. And I have a friend of mine who has a PhD. She teaches on a master's level up at Point Loma Nazarene. I've worked with her trying to develop a college program that's adjusted for adults with disabilities. And she's kind of been mentoring me and helping me think about adjusting classes that already exist at local businesses so that adults with disabilities can access them. For example, Orange Theory fitness classes, Lux art classes, cooking classes. See, Thomas would love to have all these interests and hobbies, but just like his peers, if he goes to an unadjusted, just a regular class, it's too hard for him.
Right.
So our goal is to not only have mixers, but we also want to have local businesses adjusting their classes so we have a calendar of classes available to them too.
How great.
Yes, and this is amazing.
I
'cause
love it.
It kills two birds with one stone because the other issue is if they meet someone at our mixer, if you don't have a child with disabilities, you don't think about this piece, but what's the next step?
Right.
Getting together with them again, right?
Right.
So all of us would be like, hey, you want to have drinks at Alice, right? But that kind of is left up to caregivers a lot.
Right.
And the planning of movie times with their schedules or a class, if they could do a class, it just falls through the cracks and they never meet up with these friends again.
Great idea.
So the goal is to have a calendar of events and classes so when they're at our mixers, they can say, hey, do you like art? There's a molding class at now it's San Diego Museum of Modern Art.
And so do you charge per event or per class?
Well, these are things, kind of like I said, we're going to have to be flexible. So we're going to start charging per mixer. Mm-hmm. Our mixers are starting, the ones that are held at the Encinitas Community Center, they're on our website. Great. They're starting at $40 a mixer, which will include each mixer will have a different theme, a different activity, icebreakers, and then free social time with karaoke and,
And are you the facilitator actually running the whole event
At
too?
this point, I am.
Okay.
At this point, I am, and I have my junior in high school who Kimberly knows because he went to school with her daughter. It's kind of his pet project. He's going to run my social media, be my DJ, which will also help him with his college resume too. So
amazing.
He's got all kinds of things. And I mean, part of that is why I chose this route. I've been kind of feeling out a bunch of different avenues for where to put my ideas and passions, honestly, because my youngest is going to kindergarten in the fall. So
she's got now all this time on her hands. Like, I don't even understand how you have any extra time.
For the first time in 23 years, I'm not going to have a little buddy with me, right? So I've been saying to
Didn't
Steve.
you say you just got a dog?
Well, yeah. I mean, but there's a big difference between a baby and a dog. I mean, I do love my dog. I will say I'm like those people I make fun of. I bring him everywhere with me now. He's the best. But there's no comparison, right?
Of course.
But yeah, so I don't have to educate that dog. I don't have to teach him how to read or how to have good manners. So I know I'm not the type of person who, even if I had the means to be at spas all day, I just want to be out there. So my husband and I talked about all of these different areas, and I've kind of looked into them. Like, one of my passions has been disabilities in Catholic schools. So, the options program at Cathedral. And I thought about, do I want to help them with development and building that out? Or do I want to work with my fertility care work? I'm a fertility care practitioner. Take on more clients and go back into a doctor's office. So I've been looking at all of my free time. And one thing I've noticed is, as a parent of 7 children, I need it to be on my time.
Right.
And I need it to benefit my family too. And this checks both those boxes.
Right.
It benefits my community, my family, and my life.
Well, and I think, this feels like when I hear you talking about it, it sounds so easy for you to roll into this. And I think that you are the type of person, because you're so busy and because you're just your nature of your personality, it is easy because you see the end, right? Like, you had this vision and you saw what it could be. And then so it's just about building it, right?
Right.
But I'm curious, what was it that made you say, well, let me back up for a second. I think so many women over the last couple of years have definitely seen where they're like, gosh, this is really, there's a hole here, right? My family would benefit from this, if only. So what was it that really gave you the push to say, I can do this and I can go for it? Because you haven't done something like this before. And I think so many women struggle with well, I don't know how to, right? And so what was it that gave you that confidence to take the leap and sort of jump off the diving board and say, okay, I'm going to do it?
Wow. Well, that's a multi-part question, right? So
Almost like she went to Harvard.
I know.
Never noticed
I
it.
know. Really,
Smart
it's
here.
great. It's a great question. Well, first of all, this idea started different. This idea started during COVID when businesses gave up their brick and mortar, which it could kind of my original idea could be stay social corporate someday, but and I thought, gosh, businesses are going to need their employees to get together. So I should start reaching out to local businesses, and I can go to HR and say, hey, here's a bunch of different places and events that I can host for your employees, and I can make you a calendar, and they can get together outside of their own homes since you don't have an office anymore, right? But then as my wheels started turning, and I started realizing that my son didn't have a social life that he wanted, because even, let's face it, integration of adults with disabilities is amazing. I did it his entire school life, right? But there comes a point where all of us spend time with people we relate to, right? So you have people that you like, but then you have people you relate to. And I thought, if there was only a way that I could get Thomas around a group of people that are like him and have the same struggles and same interests, and this would be amazing. And then I thought, well, what about social events for adults with disabilities?
Right.
So in the meantime, Thomas had another goal that I was helping him with, and it was to go to a 4-year program at a university that's specially designed for adults with disabilities. And I spent years trying to build programs, and at USD, we almost got one off the ground. He was actually on Point Loma Nazarene for a year. Finally, there was the opportunity for him to attend UC Davis. They launched the first 4-year program for adults, residential for adults with disabilities in California this fall. And as a part of trying to help the founder of that program, I was trying to get funding. I was trying to get it funded for a lot of the students. There were 12 students in the cohort, and a lot of them did not have the funds. I mean, they were coming from broken homes, or one of the kids, his parents literally grew up in the projects and made something of themselves, but they didn't have enough money. So I was working with Regional Center, which is the California's institution for adults with disabilities. And they started this self-determination program where they take the funds that they would spend only on their vendors to help their clients, who Thomas is a client of Regional Center, and they would give it back to the clients in a budget, and the clients could spend it on what they thought they needed, what resources they thought they needed. So that's how I got funding for that program, a piece of it. But then that got me thinking. So Thomas went to the program. He got into the program. I was very proud of him. And the program didn't work out. It was not a good fit for him. So when he came back, I said to my husband, we already got the LLC for this. Because before that program came about, we kind of went through the process of becoming a business. I said, now we know all of these people, as of July of last year, have switched to this program, and there's space in their budget for socialization. But there's nothing for them. There really is nothing for them. So we need to get this off the ground.
So you identified a need in the market.
Exactly.
And developed something to solve that need.
Exactly. And if you talk to anyone with a child with disabilities, their biggest problem is they don't have enough friends. They stay home on the weekends. And luckily, Thomas is the oldest of my 7, and my son, Patrick, was a year behind him in school. So Thomas has all of Patrick's friends who've always been so good to him. Kimberly knows, because her son is in the grade below. But there is a point where he needs his own circle of buddies, you know?
Right.
We all do. We all need other people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that was the impetus. But then when you say, like, what gave you...
Like, what gave you the confidence to do it?
Well, Steve and I talk about this a lot. I think we've been having these little Saturday meetings to fit in Stay Social. And we've been going to Orange Theory first because we're trying to get them to adjust some classes. And then we walk to coffee and we work on our website. And it is a reoccurring conversation that we have about fear. I think fear stops a lot of people, fear of the unknown or fear of what's ahead.
Even the fear of success. I mean, so many people address the fear of failure, but the fear of success is scary.
Exactly. Or if they have the ability to do it. And I think it's like anything else in your life. You have to look at those fears, but not look at them aside from the grace that you'll have as you are approaching them, whatever that fear is, right? I think we see our fears ahead of us, or they're presented to us, but they're not presented with the grace that we have during that time. And so I think what, for me personally, and we did talk about this one day, it's having a large family. It takes a lot of trust to have a large family, especially in Southern California. Let's face it, right? When we were first married, we didn't say, oh, we want 7 children, but we just kind of naturally grew with it and adjusted to it. And then we had a son with disabilities. And just the beautiful, if that was my business, at this point, I feel like a real success, right? And I feel like going into any endeavor, I can see that I think I have more of a vision and can set aside the fear more after knowing how life goes.
I love that, actually, because I think so many women that are mothers, they don't recognize that can give them strength, right? That can give them the
And
confidence.
that
can
that's
give them the-
experience, right?
Like, that
I
is
mean, you
experience,
have
totally.
the experience.
Absolutely.
And we forget.
I think
how
it's
much we learn,
undervalued.
Very
Right.
much.
Time
Very
management,
much.
learn it.
Multitasking, learn it.
Right.
Flexibility, learn it.
Yes.
Right.
So I know you're working on this with your husband, Steve, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you love about being a female entrepreneur?
You know what I love? I love that I am the master of my own domain. I have, I've sat on the board of nonprofits. I've done tons of projects for Catholic schools, like pretty big projects. I've hosted fundraisers, and in every one of those endeavors, there have been people that I've had to depend on for their okay, right? Or the check off, even the availability or where I want to have the event. I love that I can be as creative as I want, and
Right.
I'm the one who makes those decisions. I think it's amazing.
Right.
Right? I just think it's so great, and I think, it's up to me. If this is going
Right.
to be a success, it's up to me. I've never been one to blame anyone, so I don't have that issue, but I think that's so freeing and so fun,
Right.
and I
It
think the
is freeing.
sky's the limit, because ultimately my goal for Stay Social is to grow it. It's not a nonprofit, it is a business, because I want this to be Thomas's business. I think it incorporates his strengths. He's very social, and I want to have him trained to run these events. And I want him to feel like he has his own career and his own life, and someday his own financial stability. Because
Right.
ultimately, I want to sell this. I want to franchise it and sell it,
Right.
And I want him to have stability past my years here.
So is the idea then that each of these Stay Social Now franchises would be by geographic area?
Well, I think, like I said, I can't take the vision too far, but what I think will have to happen is we would have to have enough capital where we eventually have our own location, right? So not everything happens at the Stay Social location, but it is a hub for them to come, where we'd have pool tables and couches and vending machines and someone working at the hub to oversee it, because I think it would be neat to have memberships, subscriptions. I mean, these are all things we can start now before we have our actual physical Stay Social building.
Right.
But once we can develop that model, then we can have people buy into the franchise. And we've done all the footwork. A lot of people don't want to find a venue. A lot of people
Right.
don't want to start a business or figure out how do you structure subscriptions, because I don't even know that yet, right? So that's what's so neat about what you girls are doing. I mean, I just think it's so cool, because you're laying that out for people. You are allowing people to have a roadmap, and not a lot of people have the courage to do things without a roadmap.
Oh, thank
Very
you.
true.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question about your customers. So your
Yes.
customers are disabled young adults, right?
Highly
Highly
functioning,
functioning intellectually.
intellectually, and autism spectrum.
So how do
Adults.
you advertise for new customers?
Oh, well, it's pretty easy,
Is it?
because Regional Center loves it. So we're going to have our rep at Regional Center is going to
What's
send that
Regional
out.
Center?
So Regional Center is I kind of brought it up a little earlier. It's the government-based support system
okay.
for adults with disabilities.
Got it.
So we will become a vendor of Regional Center too.
Right.
So people who aren't in self-determination, they can say, we're going to buy you a Stay Social subscription.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Great.
But so through Regional Center, there's various newsletters that people get that put out, what is available for adults with disabilities, high school programs, because these students are in it past adulthood. I mean, till 22. So for now, we're just starting Stay Social for adults, which is 18 and over. But as we grow, we might look into under 18 and expand in that way too, and offer events for teens with
Great.
disabilities.
Have
Yeah.
I
fun.
see lots of opportunity with that, but I think this is really exciting. So, okay, what do you wish you knew then that you know now? And by then, I mean before you decided to start this business, after you now built out the whole program and you built the website and you've really put some structure to what that looks like. You've gone through that. So what do you wish you knew before you did that you know now?
Goodness. I think this question, you need to ask me this question in a year or two. But I don't know. I don't know because I feel like I'm not even
Because you're about to launch. Yeah.
fully in it
Yeah.
yet.
So when you were on your runs, let me ask it a different way. When you were thinking about this, right? Was there one thing that you thought, I'm going to have to figure that piece out to be able to start this business? That's going to be the key point.
Not really.
No.
Because
Okay.
it's evolved is over such a long period of time because we had COVID, right? So it's
Right.
evolved in little bits and pieces. The one thing that I wish I had more knowledge in at this point is the website development. We hired someone to develop the website, and he's amazing. He's actually going to be live music at one of our summer nights. Like, he's super
Right.
great. Everyone who hears about this loves it, and they're like, "Can I volunteer? Can I be a part of it?" You know, but because I want to be able to control that myself. So I wish that I had the vision maybe to take the time to just take a class on website development so that I
Hire
You
that.
still, yeah, I know.
Oh, do you feel like I just
I
hired
feel
that
like
out?
you can't learn everything. You can't be the expert at everything.
Okay.
And there are so many other people out
Yeah.
there who've developed their expertise that you save time and money by hiring someone that knows what they're doing, and then you focus on what it is you really want to do and what your passion is.
Well, you didn't say
Right.
that when we were building the Facebook Grace website to me.
Why
you
did you
said
develop
you could
it?
do it.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But let's just say it was a big undertaking.
It is a
to
big
build
undertaking.
out the back end.
Well, there are certain things that I had no idea about, right? Like Eventbrite and all of these things that help you take money off websites. And so that I think was
Right.
my scariest hurdle because I don't, and I'm not on social media. So I need to be on social media more. I just have never had the time for it or interest in it. But now I know that I'm going to have to,
Yeah, that'll
be on
stretch.
social
Does your
media more.
target market use social media?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues with adults with disabilities is that they're always on their electronics because there aren't other interests available to them or hobbies as
Right.
much, So absolutely they are on social media a lot, and I think it will be a great way to help them have fun with it because
Right.
I want to use social media to post pictures of our last event or
Great.
see, one of the reasons too that this fits is not just Thomas is because I have been planning events, like wacky events,
Oh, I know. I was a member of Beach
since
Week.
college. Beach Week, that's a great example. Beach Week is my traditional week of the
It's
summer
bringing Jersey to California.
where I would get people to go to the beach like they should, right?
You
Each
mentioned
day
that little
had
house in Encinitas
Yeah,
right
well,
there. Yeah.
but I did
And
it
there were themes
for
though.
20
you had
years.
to wear jewelry. Some days you had to surf. Some days.
Yeah,
were,
every year we had a theme, and then based on that theme, we had daily themes based on the
Right.
word beach, right?
Right.
So back to college. I mean, I used to host theme parties. I still do. My son is allowing me to throw him his 21st birthday party. I'm almost kicked out because I'm like, oh, we're doing a bocce tournament, and so I just feel like it's how my creativity comes
Right.
out, really.
Right.
And so for me, it's fun. And I think it's fun to share that with my son because
Yeah.
Thomas and I have shared so many dreams together.
Right.
I mean, from the time he was little, when I first found out and he was diagnosed, I remember I took him to Lourdes. I took him to France. People were like, did you find an expert? I'm like, no, I got on a plane and I took him to Lourdes, France, to this beautiful Marian apparition spot. And I was like, I wanted him healed. It was too scary for me to have a 4-year-old. And I think at that point in time, I was pregnant with my 4th child and he was like 5. And when we went to Lourdes, I heard, I'm not going to heal him, but I'm going to give you every grace you need to make him a well-adjusted adult.
Great.
So I feel like this has been a journey for Tom. This is another step in our journey as a mother and son, just like with all of my kids. When Jack's president and I'm writing his speech, well, that'll be a part of our journey, but I just feel like
President of the United States,
yes,
not of the high
United
school.
States. Well, he already has accomplished St.
Okay,
James.
good.
Now we're working on the high school. No,
Nice.
but so anyway, my point is, it's just a neat step to take with him,
Right.
and he feels really good about it. We have our t-shirts made. I should have brought a t-shirt.
Yes.
Our logos are done. Our t-shirts are made. You know, at least I have an in-house artist who does all this for me. And I just think it's fun for me to share that with him.
That's great.
And to share that with others who have the same struggle that I have, right?
Well, I think, you know, even without the struggle, one thing that is beautiful about the side hustles and small business we see women doing is so many of them are doing it with their children. And it's great. Not only is it great bonding, but what a beautiful thing to be able to impart your knowledge to your child, right?
Absolutely. And
Well,
not
and
only
it's twofold, right? You learn too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't have done this without Thomas
Right.
being being your child. This would never have idea wouldn't have
1000%.
come about. And
Yeah.
so there's that grace that comes with it, right?
right. And I don't think this will be my last side hustle. I mean,
I
my
don't
girls.
know.
No, we already know. Well, we were
There's
talking.
side
There's
hustles
two
on
other
side
ones that are already happening.
No, but my girls are already planning our little shop that we're going to have when they're designers and I babysit their kids. I'll just have to
Nice.
pass this business off to one of my other sons.
Right.
Yeah.
Thomas.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Thomas
Right.
and maybe Patrick and Jack can help him run it. But yeah.
love it.
Jack's running the country.
He-
He does not have time to
he's
do
a little.
Stay
He's
Social
going to be a
now.
little busy.
Okay, so Kathy, where
Yeah.
can people find Stay Social? How do they find you?
Stay
Tell us.
Social
Okay.
now.
Right.
StaySocialNow.com. That's our website. And if you want it, our email is on our website, info@StaySocialNow.com. And then you can find our social media is on our website, links to our social media.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Terrific.
And our calendar, everything you need to know about us will be on our website.
Well, and I did look at the calendar, and there's lots of events coming up. I know that as you're launching here, there's a lot going on. So it's a great opportunity to get involved and to pass the word and spread the word to people you know that would be interested. But Kathy, it's been such a pleasure getting to hear about this. And
Yeah, thank
I always
you.
love talking to you, but this was extra special too to hear about this and your new venture. I know you've got lots of other ideas, so I have no doubt that we'll be talking to you about them.
yes.
But good luck with
Right.
your launch. We're excited to
you.
see where this goes and to support you in your journey.
Thank you.
And thanks for tuning in to Face Your Grace. I'm Kate Nowlan, joined by Kimberly Caccavo. And make sure that you like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Recommend it to your friends.
Yeah, recommend
Colleagues.
it, share, do all the things you're supposed to do. But it's been such a pleasure talking to Kathy Breen. Check out StaySocialNow.com, and we will see you next time.